A very good morning, everyone. Today we'll be studying the unit 4 of our course, that is farm business analysis and efficiency measures related to the farm business. So let's begin. These are the contents of this lecture. We will be studying what farm business analysis means, what do we mean by farm income and farm profitability, different measures, what is efficiency and its types, and different measures related to the farm. Okay, so let's begin. What do we mean by farm business analysis? Farm business analysis is, business analysis of any kind of business is simply where we record some information related to the finances of the business, and later on we will analyze them so that we can make some progress. Similarly is the case with the farm, because in capitalist type of farming, farm is considered as a business. Okay, capitalist farming means when you are farming for the purpose of profit. Okay, and these days everybody is trying to cultivate their fields for the sake of profit. Okay, that's why it is called as capitalist farming. So in farm business analysis, as I simply said, there is some sort of record keeping, and those records are accurately interpreted, because if you are trying to not interpret those information in a proper manner, you are not going to have any worthwhile experience. If you are trying to interpret it accurately, you will be having some good experience, which with time will help you progress. And by the term progress in terms of business, I mean higher income. Okay, so let's revise it again. With the help of certain type of record, farm business analysis tries to analyze, record and analyze the financial information for the progress of the farm. Okay, what are the main objectives? As I said, foremost objective is for the sake of profit. Other objectives can also be how is our farm doing at any point of time, what are the weaknesses of our farm business, okay, and what kind of improvements are possible in the particular situation of our farm. Also, it helps in providing background information in case of policy making at the government level, and also for getting credit. If you're going to a bank and if you have maintained proper records, so it will be easy for the banks to determine how good this farmer is in his field, and whether he will be able to generate revenue, enough revenue to repay the loan. Okay, so this is what farm business analysis is, and these are the objectives. What are the steps in farm business analysis? As I said, first step is when you are doing farming, you're supposed to record the data related to the farming. Okay, and how you're supposed to do that? First of all, for recording data, you should be having suitable record books. For different enterprises or different tasks, you have different suitable books. Generally, farmer keeps data in a diary, okay, or in a notebook, which is not readily comprehensible. That means whenever you are trying to infer something out, let's say you have been keeping diary for one whole year regarding your labor use. If you want to know how much of labor was used efficiently in a particular crop, it will not be possible to get that information from a diary easily. It is not at all possible. You will be going through many pages until before you make a worthwhile assessment of them. Okay, that's why suitable record books wherein their information is fed in relevant columns, relevant rows, and neatly, so whenever we need the information, we are able to infer things out of it easily. Okay, that's why suitable books are very important. Then after recording this data, job comes of the analysis and interpretation. As I said, raw data or data kept in non-suitable forms is not of any worth. We need to keep data in suitable books. Later on, it is very easy to summarize that data, tabulate that data, and analyze and find things that are needed for our farm to progress. Okay, and some computation of efficiency measures that do tell us a lot of things about what is happening on our farm. Okay, how, if we are doing good with the resources, or if we are not managing the resources well. These efficiency measures or the information we are interpreting out of the record books after analyzing the data are used for comparing with similar types of farm doing whether we are doing better or worse than a similar farm in the area. Also, it helps us in recognizing weak points. Let's say we after looking at the record books, we found that we have not been using our labor efficiently. Our labor has just been working 200 days per year, 200 full days, 200 days for 8 hours. Rest of the year they have been they have been sitting idle. So this is a wastage of our labor resource, and this information we got from our record books, labor record books. Okay, I'll be showing you those kind of record books later on. So this is the whole these are the three steps involved in farm business analysis. All right, now let's move on to what is income, farm income, and what is profitability. Income is simply the money we get after the sale of whatever we are producing from the chosen enterprise. Enterprise here I mean any type of work we are doing, whether we are raising crops or raising livestock of any kind. Okay, this is called as enterprise. Income is generally of two types: gross income, when you are not deducting the expenses, it is simply price into the quantity of things you have produced. It is gross income. Net income, when you are deducting the expenses. Alright. However, in farm management, we are not considered in enhancing income, but we are more focused on profits. Now, what is profitability? Profitability is the difference between income and expenses. This net income is also a measure of profitability because it is our income after deducting expenses. But there are many other measures of profitability related to a farm business. Okay, and that too, farm business are of different types. Livestock have different livestock measures, and crop enterprises have different crop measures related to those crop enterprises. Profitability is very important because let's read it out first. Annual percentage returns, rates of return on both equity capital, that means the money, cash we have invested, and total assets also can be calculated and compared to interest rates for both loans or rates of returns from alternative investments. See, we have our money with us. We are investing it in machinery and land, buildings, implements. Okay, uh, let's say we have invested 11 lakh rupees. Okay, and for 5 years we have earned a lot, we have done our business. Then later on we try to calculate whether this investment of 11 lakh in for the 5 years in an orchard was worthy or not. Would we have been better off investing this 11 lakh rupees in an FD or any other kind of saving scheme, wherein we might have got an annual percentage return of 7%? In the orchard we might have gotten 5% rate of return. So it was not a wise decision of ours to grow an orchard. Rather, we should have gone for an FD because we would have earned 7% rate of interest annually on our this much amount of money. So profitability is also judged by this annual percentage rate of return on the money that we have invested in machinery and land, buildings, and other implements, tools. Okay, so profitability can also be assessed by this annual percentage rate of return. So this is just to give you an idea what profitability means. Okay, and what is efficiency? Efficiency is let me go back, please. Efficiency simply means we have to use our resources in such a way that we are getting maximum output per unit of those inputs. Okay, maximum average yield. And this inherently means we can get maximum output per unit of inputs used only when there is least possible wastage of our inputs. Okay, now efficiency is an important element of farm business management, And because in farm business management, the decisions we make are about resource allocation. That means, let's say resource is land, whether we should be cultivating paddy or we should be cultivating maize according to the resources available, what kind of crop rotations should we have, okay, and what kind of enterprises should we have. Should we go for rearing livestock, or different quantities or different combinations of paddy and maize? How much area should be given to paddy and how much area should be given to maize? Okay, so these are the decisions we are supposed to make as a farm manager, manager. And efficiency measures how good these decisions are. We appraise the accuracy of our allocation decisions, allocation of resources. Efficiency appraises the accuracy of our allocation decisions, allocation of our resources, our factors of production. Alright. Now let's move on to the different types of efficiency. There are two types of efficiency: physical and financial. Physical is also called technical efficiency, and financial is also called as economic efficiency. Let's go with physical first. Physical is simply the ratio of physical output to inputs used. Okay, output divided by input in physical terms. How many quintals of output of wheat did we get by investing? How invest by putting in 50 kg, that is the seed rate, 40 to 50 kg seed rate of wheat. This is physical efficiency. Okay, physical efficiency can be higher on farm A than farm B. These kind of comparisons can be made using these physical efficiency measures. Also, it implies the using of resources as effectively as possible without any wastage. That's simple, as I told you in the earlier slide. Economic efficiency: when we are going to express this physical efficiency in money terms, monetary terms, through the use of prices of output and input. Y is generally referred for output and X is generally referred for inputs. Okay. Uh, the ratio of value of output to the value of inputs is termed as economic efficiency. As I just told you, expressing the physical efficiency in monetary terms is called as financial efficiency. There are different measures by using which we express physical efficiency and financial efficiency. Now we will be studying those. Physical efficiency measures. These are classified in terms of absolute and ratio measures. Absolute measures, these are simple figures. Ratio measures are comparative figures. Okay. Uh, Absolute measures, there are two, and in ratio measures there are different measures for land utilization, or you can say crop efficiency measures. These are also called crop efficiency measures. How efficiently we are using our labor. For getting this information, we have these two efficiency measures. How efficiently we are using our machinery, there are some efficiency measures for it. And how efficiently we are using our livestock, these are the two efficiency measures we will be studying now. Okay, let's move to the absolute efficiency measures first. Physical absolute efficiency measures. Total area of the farm, let's say I am a farmer of 24 acres. So this is a physical absolute, this is an absolute number. Okay, you can compare it with the see, it's not generally for comparison with other farms, because some farms are big, some farms are small. It doesn't give you any information. If you're going to compare a farmer of 24 acres with a farmer of 2 acres, so it doesn't give you any kind of information. It's just a number. Okay, total production, that is the quantity of output you get out of the out of the crops you are cultivating. Okay, it is again just a number. It doesn't tell you much. If you're going to compare total production of farm A and farm B, they can be different due to many factors, so it doesn't tell you many things. Okay, so not good for comparison. Okay, these are just figures. Now these are ratio measures. Also in ratio measures, first we are going to study is land use efficiency measures, or you can say crop efficiency measures. Okay, crop efficiency measures. Also these are called as land use efficiency measures. First one is production efficiency. It tells us whether our farm, that is farm A, has higher productivity than other farms. Whether our let's say the average yield of our farm is 20 quintals per acre, okay, and average output in the village is 18 quintals per acre, okay. So production efficiency compares the productivity that or yield of our farm with the average yield of the area. 20 divided by 18 into 100. Let's say this figure is 110 percentage, okay. That means our farm is 10% more efficient than nearby or village farms, okay. Intensity of cropping. It simply means, let's say I have 2 hectares of land with me, and in those 2 hectares in summers I am taking paddy, okay, 2 hectares of paddy, plus in winters I am taking 2 hectares of wheat. Net sown area is the actual area I own. 2 plus 2. See, so gross cropped area is 2 plus 2 hectares of paddy and 2 hectares of wheat, but actually the area I have is only 2 acres, 2 hectares. So if you are going to calculate this cropping intensity comes out to be 200%. That means we are using our area at an intensity of cropping of 200%. That means we are taking twice twice the we are cultivating twice the area available with us, okay, in an year, or we are cultivating our area twice in a year. Crop yield index. See, this production efficiency was related to a particular crop or particular enterprise. This can be related to your dairy also, or any other kind of enterprise also. But crop yield index compares the yield of all the crops we are cultivating on our farm with the average yield of all those crops in the locality. Let's say on farm A, on our farm we are cultivating cotton, wheat and maize, okay, and the yield on our farm, average yield, that is per acre yield, is 9 quintals, 21 quintals and 9 quintals, and average yield in the locality, or let's say in the village, is of cotton is 7, 19 and 11. So first we'll be working out the production efficiency of each of them. Production efficiency is the yield of on our farm divided by the yield in village into 100, okay, that is 128.5. We work out the production efficiency of each of the crops. Then what we do is we multiply this production efficiency with the area on our farm, area on which we had cultivated cotton. In 4 acres we cultivated cotton, 3 acres wheat, 5 acres maize. So we multiply this thing, figure comes out, these three figures, total of all these three comes out to be 1254.5. If we divide this 1254.5 divided by 12, it comes out to be 104.54%. That means our farm is 4.54% more efficient than nearby, or you can say village farms. Efficient here we mean they are producing more output per unit of input, 4.54% more output per unit of input. So let's move on to the next slide. Now we will be studying livestock efficiency measures. Production per livestock is it's a simple total production divided by the number of livestock. Okay, you can compare similar type of let's say in here we can compare small or big farms. A dairy is having 10 cows, 10 buffaloes, and a big farm is having 50 buffaloes. Its production per livestock is let's say 25 liters. Its production per livestock is 22 liters. So we can say a smaller farm, smaller dairy farm is more efficient than a larger dairy farm. There can be difference. There can be differences in the situation in different areas and in regarding different the breeds should be same. Okay, the breed should not be different, otherwise the comparison is there is no point in comparing. Okay, if there is no point in comparing and saying that this farm is more efficient. If you are going to compare breeds, then it is okay, but if you are going to compare farms with the different breeds, it is no there is no point. Okay, different areas and different situations can lead to the difference in the production per livestock in different farms. Livestock efficiency index, same thing as we studied in this crop yield index. We are calculating the overall efficiency of a farm compared to the average of the area. Okay, let's say in our farm we have cows, buffaloes, goats and hens. We are spending on concentrate and feed, we are spending this much amount of money on each of these enterprises, and our actual returns, the money we are getting by the sale of products from cow, buffalo, goats and hens, is these values. That is total is 19,800. Let's go to this again. On concentrate and feed we have spent this much amount of money. Okay, and the returns, that is the money we are getting by the sale of produce from cows, is this much. That means for every 100 rupees spent on concentrate and feed of cow, we are getting 112.5 rupees. Okay, for every 100 rupees spent on buffalo concentrate and feed, we are getting 160 rupees. Okay, and similarly average of the area around us, if they are going to spend 100 rupees on cow feed and concentrate, they got 110 rupees and we got 112.5 rupees. If they spent 100 rupees on buffaloes feed and concentrate, they got 155 rupees in return, but we got 160 rupees. Just in the similar manner, they got 130 in average of the area around, they got 130 rupees by spending 100 rupees on goats, 170 rupees on hens, and we got 200 rupees by spending 100 rupees on hens. As you can see, in all the cases our farm is getting more money by spending rupees 100 on each of the enterprise. Okay, if we spend 100 on cows, our farm is getting 112.5, and on an average the other farms are getting 110. That means we are getting 2.5 more rupees. In case of buffaloes, we are getting 5 more rupees. In case of goats, we are getting 3 more rupees per 100 rupees spent. In case of hens, we are getting 30 more rupees. So we can see that our farm is much more efficient than the farms nearby. Okay. And if you are going to how do we calculate the livestock efficiency index? We calculate the actual returns of our farm and actual returns according to the returns according to the these average returns. Just multiply 110 with 8,000, we get 8,800. 155 into 5,000, we get this much. 130 into 600, we get this much. 170 into 1000, we get 1700. So 19,800 divided by 19,030 into 100, 104.4. That means our farm is generating 4.04% more returns on per 100 rupees spent than the average returns of each kind of livestock in the area, in our nearby area. Okay, so I hope it is fine. If it is not, we'll be discussing it in doubt classes. Next comes labor efficiency measures. How do we calculate the efficiency of the labor we are using on our farm? Crop acreage per man equivalent. Means man equivalent means 8 hours of work done by a man. Okay, on a farm. Man on a farm. So crop acreage per man equivalent, what does it tell? It tells us how much of area of a crop can be cultivated by a man in 8 hours. We are talking about the whole crop season. Okay, let's say this value comes out to be 0.015. That means in 8 hours a person can cultivate only this much of area of a crop. Let's can say let's just let's understand it by another example. See, 8 hours can cultivate this much of area. Okay, so how much of man days are required to cultivate 1 acre of a crop? 1 divided by 0.015, it comes out to be 66.66. That means 66.66 man days, or you can calculate 60.6 into 8 hours. These many hours are required to be put in a cotton crop to cultivate its 1 acre. Okay, so this crop acreage per man equivalent tells us that different crops have different labor requirement. Cotton, this figure is 66. For wheat it might be 35. For gram it might be 28, because gram needs less labor. Wheat needs less labor because it is short duration crop and the work is lesser as compared to cotton. Okay, so it tells us about the different labor requirements. Okay, productive man work units, sorry, units per man equivalent, it tells us whether we have used our labor efficiently or not. Okay, let's say our farm is having crops and livestock also. We have calculated the labor requirement. Okay, how many labor hours are required for cultivating our crop and how many labor hours are required for rearing our livestock. Total labor requirement in terms of hours we have calculated, this will be this figure. Okay, plus we have, let's say, 3 full-time workers on our farm. So if we are going to get the figure that comes out of it is less than, is if it is more than 250, that means we are using our labor efficiently, and if it is less than 250, that means we are not using our labor efficiently. Okay, this 250 means, it means that our labor has worked for 250 days. Let's say this value comes out to be 262. It means our three labors on an average have worked for 262 full days on our farm. Rest of the day, 365 minus 262, 103 days they were lying idle. Okay, so if this figure is bigger, that means our efficiency of labor use is better, and if this figure is smaller, that means we are not using our labor efficiently. Now let's move on to machinery use efficiency measures, the measures that tell us how if we are using our machinery efficiently or not. Machinery cost per crop acre. Okay, the total cost of machinery. Total cost includes, let's say, the interest the interest we are paying on investment. Let's say we bought some machineries and implements for 50,000, and in a year, if we would have given this money on loan to somebody else, we might have gotten 10% of rate of interest. Instead of buying machinery, we could have used this money for lending to someone and just earn the interest. Okay, so we'll be including this cost into the machinery cost. Let's say it is 5,000 rupees. Depreciation, that is a reduction in value of machinery, 2,000 rupees. Maintenance cost, 1,000 rupees. Petrol, oil and lubricant charges. Petrol, oil and lubricant, POL means this. Okay, let's say this was 3,000 rupees, and insurance charges 500 rupees. Okay, so the total is 5, 7, 8, 11, 5, 7, 8, 11, 11,500, 11,500 per number of crop acres. Let's say it was 3. So this figure tells us if we are using our machinery efficiently or not. This figure tells us if we are using the machinery efficiently or not. Lesser the figure, efficiency is higher. Okay, that means with the same cost we are cultivating more number of acres of crop. So if this denominator increases, this value will decrease, and in turn our efficiency will increase. Okay. So similarly, power and equipment investment cost per crop acre. You must have noticed that uh, I have not used the investment cost here. Okay, investment power and equipment investment per crop acre. It is a different measure. Okay, we are not going to include this value into this measure. Investment cost is 50,000 divided by number of crop acres, it comes out to be 25,000. Again, if the denominator value increases, if we are able to use the machinery of 50,000 in more number of acres, that means our efficiency is higher. Now let's move on to financial efficiency measures. When we are expressing the physical efficiency measures in money terms or monetary terms, then they're called as financial efficiency measures. Again, these are absolute and ratio measures. Ratio measures are for comparing different equal sized farms. Okay, absolute measures tell you things about only that particular farm, and if you are going to compare these measures with the other farms, make sure you are comparing similar or can say same farms. Alright, these ratio measures can compare by using these you can compare different types of farms. By using these you should be comparing only similar farms. So let's study them one by one. First, absolute measures are also called as aggregate measures of financial efficiency. Gross income. Gross, wherever this term comes gross, that means expenses are not deducted. Okay, gross income, that means the price and the quantity we produce, the total revenue we are getting out of it is, let's say the price was 150 per quintal and we produced 1,000 quintal. That means our gross income was 1.5 lakh. Okay, gross expenses, again total expenses, operating plus fixed. Operating expenses means the money that we have to spend for cultivating our crop. Fixed expenses are many, let's say depreciation, and let's say some kind of taxes, insurance charges, these kind of things. These will you have to incur them if even if you are not producing anything. Okay, operating expenses only if you are producing some things. Gross profit, that means gross income minus gross expenses. These two things simply. Net worth, you will be understanding this figure by studying a balance sheet which will be coming in the upcoming lectures. Okay, balance sheet means total assets minus total liabilities. Assets simply mean anything which can be sold and converted into cash. Okay, and you have different types of assets. You have cash in your hand, plus you have crop, you have machinery, plus you have land, plus you have building. These all of these can be sold, but some take more time than the others. Okay, total liabilities, that means you own some money to some people which you're supposed to pay in a short period of time, medium term, and in the long term. Medium term, long term, and immediately. What can be this immediately? You have to pay for seed, you have to buy agrochemicals. In medium term, you have to pay for your tractor loan installments, and in the longer term you are supposed to pay for your, let's say, home loan. Okay, these are long term liabilities. Net worth should always be positive. That means you should be having more assets than you are owing to people, than the money you are owing to people. It should be positive and increasing over the years. Another aggregate measure is net cash income, that is NCI. It is an easier way of remembering these things. Net cash income, that means cash receipts, that means in the money you are getting in terms of cash. Receipts that you are getting, okay, the money you are receiving, minus cash operating expenses. You are paying for seed, you are paying for labor, you are paying for petrol, oil, and lubricants, you are paying for agrochemicals. All of them are generally purchased by paying cash. Okay, so this shows the net cash income. cash receipts minus cash expenses. The money that you paid in cash, the money that you received in cash. The balance is net cash income. Then the next one is net farm income, NFI. It is net cash income minus changes in inventory minus depreciation. Now, what is inventory and what is depreciation? Depreciation, I have told you earlier also in the earlier lectures also, is the reduction in value of an asset due to use, wear and tear, and obsolescence. Okay, that means you are buying a phone and after some time its value reduces because you have used it. You might have dropped it sometime, one or many times, and this mobile that you are having has become old now. New technology has come in, it has become obsolete. So this is depreciation, the reduction in the value of assets you have, okay, with the time. Inventory, that means that let's say in the beginning of this year you have 30 packets of urea with you in your store, 20 of DAP, and you have two machines, okay, and in the next year same time you are having only 20 DAP packets, 10 urea packets, and only one machine was sold by you in the last year. So your inventory has reduced, okay. Some items are still the same, some items have reduced, okay. Machine has reduced, DAP has reduced. So minus changes in inventory, your, let's say the value of this change in inventory was 10,000 rupees. So net cash income minus 10,000 minus depreciation, let's say 5,000 rupees. This is your net farm income, okay. Farm earnings are generally can be said net farm income, that is this farm income minus value of farm goods or products that are used at home. These are also called as farm privileges. So if you are producing wheat for selling, you are also consuming it at home, okay. You are also consuming some of the vegetables you have cultivated. So you are also using some of the milk you have been, milk and let's say butter, even buttermilk. These are some of the privileges of living on a farm, but all of them have some monetary value. So you must deduct that monetary value out of net farm income to calculate the farm earnings. Okay. Now family labor earnings. Family labor earnings means when you deduct from farm earnings, you will be deducting percentage on capital invested. See, as a family, you have been putting in your whole year, you have been putting in your labor, your family labor into your farm to earn money. Okay, so this family labor earning tells us you're investing labor plus money. So, as a whole family, what did you earn out of your farm? You earned farm earnings minus the interest on the money you have invested in that enterprise, in that farm. Okay, let's say you have invested 1 lakh rupee in the last year and you are 5 people in your house who have been working on your farm producing different crops. So the percentage rate of interest on this money in the open market is 10%. That means if you lend this money to somebody, in a year he will be paying you 1,10,000 rupees, okay. So as a family we are giving in our labor and using our money to earn something out of our farm. So family labor earning means the by using our money and by using our labor we have earned this much farm earnings minus percentage return on capital invested, okay. Returns to management, we have done the management part also. See, a farmer in spite, let's say a farmer after putting in its labor, after putting in its money, is managing all the resources, okay, by using his brain. Okay, that by using his mental labor. So what is the price of this management? What is the price, what is the let's say benefit of engaging himself into crop production? Okay, what is the benefit? How much did he earn? What were the returns to his management abilities? The returns were family labor earnings minus imputed value of family labor. Imputed value means, let's say these five people who were working on the farm worked for 1,000 hours. Okay, let's say 2,000 hours in an year. If you are going to give them a value of 300 rupees per 8 hours, so let's say this value comes out to be 50,000. 50,000 rupees worth of labor has been put in by the family members in producing the crops. So this figure, it was, let's say, 2 lakh minus 50,000. This much, 1.5 lakh, is the worth of the management effort that has been put in by the farmer. Okay, so now let's move on to an example. I'll be leaving this example to be studied by yourself and only take a screenshot, and you can very well understand this let's say this whole example, because all the main items that have been listed here have been talked about earlier. So let's go through them once again for your ease. Cash receipts, that means the money you will be getting in cash by selling your rabi crops, kharif crops, milk, eggs, and some other sales. You might be producing FYM or other type seeds also. Okay, the total is 2100. It's an old figure, that's why these values are very small. It's an old table. Cash expenses, you have to pay for labor, for seeds, fertilizers, feed, and other things also. So its total comes out to be 1160. Changes in inventory, that means changes in the value of physical assets you had this time in the last year. What is the change? That, let's say you have added some physical assets on your farm. You have from comparing to the last year, you have 3 more bags of urea with you right now. Okay, so their value is 300 rupees. Farm privileges, that is the value of products you are using at your home which could have also been sold, 600 rupees. Interest charges at 8% on an average on farm capital, that means the money you have invested for producing all the crop, milks, eggs. If you would have given this money to on loan to somebody, he would have paid you 8% rate of interest. Okay, just for lending it to him as a loan. Imputed value of family labor, the money worth of the effort, physical effort that has been put in by the family labor. Let's say it is 450. So these all aggregate measures of financial efficiency have been calculated here. You can go through this example, and I have just told you about the terms that have been used here, so it should be very easy for you now. Now the ratio measures of financial efficiency. Gross output per gross input. Just read those things, read these items properly. Gross output per gross input. It's simply translated here. Output per unit of input. Okay, that means total output divided total output divided by total input. It can be used for any type of input. Alright, so it will tell you about the overall efficiency of the farm, as well as the specific input also. Okay, as you can let's say your this input we are talking about is land. Okay, total output is 100 quintals. Okay, and we cultivate got this output from 3 acres of our land, so the efficiency is 33.3. Ratio financial efficiency measure is 33.3. If it is for labor, you can just substitute this 3 by the quantity of labor, number of labor, let's say 4 labor, so per labor output was 25 quintal. So these measures can be used either for overall efficiency of the farm or for the individual resource or input also. Okay, fertilizer cost per crop acre, we have been cultivating different crops, or we let's say we can calculate this for a particular crop also, particular crop, or for all the crops on our farm. If you are cultivating it for a particular crop, we can compare different crops on our farm and as well as with other farms, whether the fertilizer whether we are putting in more fertilizer than the nearby farms, or which crop is consuming more fertilizers. We can get to know these things by this fertilizer cost per crop acre. Okay, now power and equipment cost per crop acre. Again, this value is different for different crops, and we can different for different crops and different crops in different regions. So this can be used for, again, for comparing, making comparisons between crops, between farms, between areas. Okay, this value can be, these two values can be used for making these three types of comparisons. Okay, now comes cost ratios. Operating cost ratio. Operating cost ratio is total operating cost divided by gross income. Gross income, as I told you, price into quantity. Okay, total operating cost used in production of crops, and generally paid in terms of cash. Okay, it varies with the crops, and it varies with the quantity of crops we are cultivating. Okay, it is different for different crops. That means in cotton the operating cost might be 20,000 rupees, and in gram it might be 5,000 rupees, and in wheat it might be 12,000 rupees per acre. Okay, so operating cost ratio do tell us which crops are need more money to cultivate. Okay, need more money for operations. Overhead charges ratio. Total fixed cost divided by gross income. I have told you what we mean by total fixed cost. See, we should always work towards reducing this overhead charges ratio, because the lower value of this would mean that we are utilizing our fixed assets in a better way. What does this mean is, this means, let's say our total fixed cost is 10,000 rupees and our gross income is 1 lakh rupees. So overhead charges ratio would be 0.10. And if using the same total fixed cost, we are producing gross income of 2 lakh rupees, that means it is 0.05. Okay, that means we are using our fixed resource cost in a better way. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Gross cost ratio is total expenses, operating expenses plus total fixed cost divided by gross income. And cost per acre, again total cost divided by number of acres. These two are used for comparing only similar type of farms. Okay, if you are going to compare gross cost ratio of uh, cotton farm A and cotton farm B, so it will be easy for you to know which farm is working more efficiently than the other. Alright, there is no point in comparing two different crop farms, let's say maize farm and a cotton farm. Okay, there is no point in comparing different farms. If you want to know which farm is more efficient, which crop is more efficient in terms of which crop costs less in terms of cultivation, so you don't need to compare different farms, you can compare it on your own farm also. If you are going to use this ratio, you should be comparing similar types of farms. Okay, in inter farm comparison. Okay, not intra farm comparison. Now let's move on to the capital ratios, rate of capital turnover. It just try to understand the meaning of this thing. We have invested a lot of money, lot of capital in buying or in gathering the assets on our farm. Assets, I told you the meaning earlier, just go through it. let's say we have invested 1 lakh rupees in gathering the assets on our farm, and our income annually, gross income annually, without paying the expenses is 10,000 rupees. Okay, so it comes out to be 0.10. What it says is it will take 10 years, 10 years before, it will take exactly 10 years when we will it will take exactly 10 years to it will take 10 years for us to just earn this money that we have invested. All right, it indicates how many years the farm earnings will uh, uh, years the farm earning will cover the investment. Higher the value is better for us. Okay, higher the value will be when it will be when gross income is high with the same total farm assets. Okay, if our gross income annually is more, then it will take less years for us to recover our investment. Okay, this is what it means. Rate of capital turnover. Now, thank you. This was the whole lecture related to the farm business analysis and efficiency measures. Okay, please go through the lecture. We will be going through your doubts, and if you want to understand any other kind of topic related, any question that comes to your mind, we will be going through it in our regular class. Thank you very much.